which I thought was kind of lame. It kind of emasculated the character. Like, I didn't think you needed to do that because the hero aspect of it makes it seem like Ember is sort of the caretaker here and the tough one, and he's sort of the little baby she's taking care of, which is weird if you're trying to do this romantic angle that they obviously tried to do. What is up, everyone? Jim Alexander here with Real Talker. Today we are reviewing Pixar's Elemental. Yeah, it's going to be monumental, maybe temperamental. Check out the trailer. We'll talk about it in a sec.
This shop is dream of our family. Someday it'll all be yours.
But we all live by one simple rule.
Elements cannot mix.
The pipe squished me all out of shape.
Dang.
That's better.
Oh.
Okay, Elemental. What is this new Pixar summer flick going to deliver on? Okay, so what is it about? Sort of elements. Yes, the name in itself kind of rings true there. So it's basically a story of Ember and Wade, and one is fire, one is water. So they're creatures, characters that are made up of water or fire, which don't go together, right? And they live in a city where fire, water, land, and air live together. So they live in this world where those four elements kind of live together. We can see that the fire is sort of more isolated because they don't not necessarily not get along, but they're sort of vilified. And this story has a lot of sort of racial and like elements to it about race and cultures, right? So each of these elements sort of play a different race or a culture, right? So it seems like with the main characters here of Ember, we have a Asian family. So they are mostly connected to an Asian family with the customs, the sort of, you can see hints throughout that, throughout this film, that it would point in the direction of them coming from an Asian culture. Water could be Caucasian, could be African American. We're not necessarily as sure, but they're more sort of upper middle class. Probably we're assuming they're white or Caucasian, as water could be. But it's a weird, interesting way of using elements to kind of speak for or mask a culture in a way. Creative, but also weird in that way. So they're probably like Caucasian or something, and then the air and earth could be another culture, African American or Hispanic. But that's not as much hinted because these characters aren't as used or talked about, because the main two characters, water and fire. So the two main ones here are Ember and Wade. Amber is played by Leah Lewis, or voiced, but I guess played too. And Wade Ripple is Mamadou Eti, is the actor behind that. So kind of a fairly unknown voice cast for this one. Catherine O'Hara does voice Brooke, and Wendy McClendon Covey is Gale, Air, basically this in-charge boss, right? So the story is basically about these two, water, fire, not getting along, especially since water and Wade in this case comes into the family business, which is something that's passed down through generations in Ember's family. She's about to take over their family shop, and that's pretty unique. Sells like, the details in this film are pretty good. Like little candies represent like fireballs and all sorts of things. So they tried to play it off modernized, like real items in a sense that you find in the store, just all fire themed, like coal and charcoal plays, it's apparently like a snack or something. So you see these fun little twists that they did on real life objects and what they, you know, represent in this world. But he is a water inspector or inspector of some sorts. Yeah, I believe water inspector makes sense. Is Wade, and he finds himself in a pipe, comes out into Amber's place of business, her parents' you know, store, and there's a huge pipe blowout, leak, and he writes her citations, which now might shut down the shop. So she is trying to fight for this shop for her father and family to remain it in a family, and she's about to take over for it. Although we get sense that she doesn't really want to, but it's the family custom to do that. So there's a lot of cultural elements, no pun intended, to this show, movie, whatever. It could be a show, probably. What I didn't like, so let's say there's a voice cast. How did they do? Fine. You know, everyone's good on their voice, you know, so no complaints there with the acting / voice cast. I thought they sounded great and well picked. Now, the plot and story here, it's tough to get into it. It just kind of, and I kept on thinking, why am I having sort of a tough time, especially this being Pixar, to connect with these characters who Pixar, as we know, make us cry and feel with all these things. And this one was tough to sort of make a connection with because it's fire and it's water. Like, what's special about that, right? They're necessities of life. Like, it's not a cuddly bear or a toy like Toy Story or whatever Pixar has created that's always hit, which is usually based on an animal, an insect, or something living, right? This is an element, literally. So they're trying to make a character out of fire and water, which visually isn't impressive because you just got a flame with some eyes on it and a water with a cool little swoosh of a hairstyle and big goggly eyes. But the characters are just sort of meh, you know, like, I don't know, it just doesn't give that Pixar connection. You don't feel for them, you don't connect with them because maybe the basis of them is kind of a bland topic, right? Water, do we obsess over water? Maybe unless you're like in a desert, you know, in need of water because you know, you're dried up all around. But or fire when, you know, you're in the middle of nowhere, again, need some fire to keep you warm. But these are not things that are friendly, cuddly, things we can connect with as humans, right? Because they're just necessities of life. Air, whoa, that's cool, air's awesome, right? No, we don't think about it. They're all second nature, secondhand things that we live with, right? But never thought of as characters. So it's a unique concept, but also I felt that was the detriment of the movie, that these characters were not that relatable, didn't look fun, or kind of, you know, they're not marketable. That's the thing here. Like, what are you going to market? Like a flame or a water thing? Like, yeah, let me turn on my faucet. Here's water. Here's a Disney character. I don't know how they're going to sell merch or toys on this one. And also, as a viewer, it's just kind of tough to connect with that because, like, why would I care about fire or water? And what's up with their lives, you know? That's why they added that big cultural element to it, so you feel they're sort of real. They have real people issues, real customs, real history, real backgrounds. It's still, the visual doesn't allow it to, because it's just such a bland, basic thing, right? So that was tough to overcome. I thought the characters in itself of Ember and obviously Wade, they're likable, they're fun. Ember's a firecracker, no pun intended. She's got a mean streak, angry streak, and that's highlighted how she blows up, no pun intended. Damn, there's gonna be a bunch of puns in this review. But she gets angry and just like unleashes and blows up, literally. And Wade is sort of a chill, kind of more quieter. She's sort of the alpha, and he's the more beta, the submissive one, in a sense. If you look at him, she's kind of the one in charge and the loud one, and he's sort of the one that's always literally crying. Like that's another thing they break on. I'm not sure why they did that. Like she's exploding with anger at certain times, and he's just crying at everything. Anything that's like a moment that makes him emotional, he cries. And like they're trying to make it as like a gig, a shtick in a fun way, that his whole family cries over anything, which I thought was kind of lame. It kind of emasculated the character. Like, I didn't think you needed to do that, because the hero aspect of it makes it seem like Ember is sort of the caretaker here, and the tough one, and he's sort of the little baby she's taking care of, which is weird if you're trying to do this romantic angle that they obviously tried to do, that he's so sort of weak in that sense, or can be interpreted as that. I thought they should be equals, him have his tough sort of moments, and he had his few heroic moments throughout here and there, but most of the time he's just crying and and being an encourager though. But I just thought toughen Wade up a little bit, especially if Amber is a ball buster, to say the least. But overall, you see the romance kind of between them sparking, and the flame. Oh, dude, I'm gonna stop erupting. And it's a sweet sort of story, but it takes time to get into it. For the first half of it, I was just kind of like, I don't care much about the story. It gets better actually as it goes on towards the end. There's more emotional pull, but are you invested at that point? Did you care enough to stick around at that point? And that's where it fails. It doesn't catch you and grasp you emotionally from the start, as certain films like they've done, like Up, gets you right away and then stays with you. So I think that's been kind of sort of a trend Pixar has done, that Onward didn't. They tried to make a really emotional story about a father and brother, and brother relationship between brothers. That one hit more, but the characters kind of also didn't. But yeah, there's sort of a downward slope with Pixar here, the last few films they've done, and this one just didn't connect with me right here where it's supposed to. And that's what they're best known for, and they're held to a higher standard because of that, because of their long-term sort of thing that they've done, with grabbing on our heartstrings. So in that way, I sort of think it didn't accomplish its mission. But overall, it's okay. It's cool. It's fun. It's under 2 hours. And visually it looks cool. The world looks cool. It's very detailed. And I thought they did a good job bringing this world to life, this fire world, and where all these interesting elements live in, right? But there's no human aspect to it, and sometimes you just need that. So that's it for Elemental for me. Yeah, kind of run of a mill. It's okay. It's solid, not great, not bad. So score wise, acting, solid 7. Entertainment wise, like I said, it gets more entertaining later on, but not so much in the beginning. 6.5. We're gonna give that. I'm actually writing this down too. Plot and story, you know where it's going. She's trying to save her family business while finding this romance with an opposite, once again, kind of culture clashes and different backgrounds, different races, if you want to call them that, meshing there. Not really a Romeo and Juliet, because no one's really against them. Somewhat her Ember's father is against Water. It's never work out with Water, but the mother is more optimistic for them working out. So a plot story, 6. I thought it was just kind of basic in terms of plot. Impression that it leave on me, it didn't leave that strong impression I was hoping it would. That getting that connection, that Pixar connection that we know of. So impression wise, I appreciated what it was, the world that they created, but it wasn't a memorable Pixar movie. So in that essence, I'm giving it a 6. And creativity, I thought for them to try this was sort of bold, this world that they did in, and the details of it. I thought it was pretty unique and different, but it didn't hit ultimately. So, but creativity points are to be earned because they tried to do something out of a box, use actual elements, and create a world with characters that are likable, and being detailed about that world. So for creativity, I'll give them a 7.5. So we are looking here at a movie that's, you know, in the high 60 percentile, low 70s here. So final score is right up there. There you go. The calculations of math have been done, you know, mysteriously here as I'm recording this. So that's a sort of movie. It's fine to see. It's more better to see probably as a Disney Plus release or a VOD or at home. I don't know if I'd be rushing to theaters because it's nothing spectacular to see, even though the world's cool. But it's not bad, especially with some of the other animated films that came out lately, like Super Mario Bros. This one falls way short of that. So it's just okay. That's all I got to say. Okay. And it's going to be more than okay if you guys subscribe. So please subscribe and help me out here keeping these reviews and this channel going. Really, these subscriptions do make a difference. If you like this review, thumbs up, like it, give it a like. That's always cool. And comment, of course. Did you see it? Did you like it? What are you thinking about it? Did they make a mistake with these elements? Did you feel similar to me about these characters not being easy to connect to or more to invest in and care about? Let me know. Let's have a chat about it. So, in the famous words of Cody Rhodes, what do you want to talk about? That's what we can talk about. And I also want to mention that you can follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at the Jim Alexander, and also at the Real Talker. So there we are. That's Elemental. And I'm going to use fire and water accordingly. And that's just what they are. Sort of forgettable things, but necessary things in our lives. See you next time.